do something a bit more chill, because I'm not quite ready for doing a full stream again because of my time constraints, and Christmas is a busy period for me. But I thought with everything going on recently, I thought we could do some, some positive, some negative. But since it's a relevant topic, the PS1 classic. So this recently came out, and I haven't really grabbed any of the mini consoles at this point, mainly because I really just don't want to at this point. I don't have the space and all the time to really go back. Plus, the SNES Classic, I already kind of have most of those in the Mega Man X collection anyway, and more, so...
Still, you should hang on to these just in case. You never know when you might need
Other than that,
this is for me,
the PS1 Classic had the opportunity to be the best mini. There's definitely something wrong with them. I mean, what we got was not a bad selection. I mean, even if you take out the frame rate problem, we didn't get a bad one. It's just that half the games on there really shouldn't have even been on there. They weren't important to the PlayStation's existence. Like, they weren't big or important games. Also, it sucks we didn't get Parasite Eve at all. But, beggars can't be goddamn choosers, I suppose. But the thing that pissed me off the most was yesterday, one of the people I follow on YouTube happened to have got one, and it burnt out after 2 hours. And with a thing that has role-playing games on it, that's not good. So yeah, unless they do a complete recall and redo the entire console, make it out of better materials and stuff, this is a dead on arrival thing. Really bad for Sony at this point.
We're gonna bring him down, no doubt about it.
Right, now I've got the negative out of the way.
Right.
Let's move on to the other thing I wanted to talk about. An anime I completely recommend, Overlord. Now, I know that there's already a movie out in the cinemas called Overlord. It's not related to that at all, I promise you.
Are you going to give us a bunch
the only thing I want to see at the cinema is the My Hero Academia movie, though. I can't go see that, unfortunately, due to, again, money and time constraints, especially considering only a few cinemas are showing it, and the nearest one to me is quite a ways away.
There's a few things
I'll have to wait for its DVD or Blu-ray release. That sucks.
Netgear's not the only sister she shouldn't.
Never mind the details. Full speed ahead. Onward to our next mission.
Or the PS3, Xbox 360, and Wii game Overlord.
Steady as she goes.
No, this is an anime that is in the same vein as... At first, look, if I described its premise to begin with, you might start thinking of Sword Art Online. You would be wrong to do so. Now, I'm going to go into spoiler territory, so if you really don't want to be spoiled on what it's about, then just ignore this and just, turn off the video. Right, I've given you time. Right, so much like Sword Art Online, Overlord is set within an MMO game called Yggdrasil. I'm not spelling it because I still can't, but the main character is a guy called Mwanga, and he plays an undead character, but it's the last day of the game's release. I should probably also point out it's one of those dive games like Sword Art Online where you're physically interacted into the game. And he's part of a guild called Ainzal Gol. But all 47 of the original members, only 2 of them are actually still there. The rest have gone over the last 12 years to have lives and stuff. So he's pissed because it's the last day, and he's going to stay there till the last second. So he decides to have a little fun, introduces us to several of the NPCs, because they've built their own castle, and he's implied he's worked really hard to build it, and he's pissed that it's all going to go away, just because they're shutting the servers down. And as soon as he sits on the throne in the throne room and he's greeted by the NPCs who can't speak, they can't really do anything, they're made solely for the purposes of defending the place. But they obey voice commands, so that's all cool. He changes one particular character's character sheet from she's a bitch in the English dub or she's a slut in the Japanese dub to is in love with Momonga, his character. He thinks that's funny, even though the character itself was made by one of his friends. So then he sits there, waits for the timer to run out, and then as soon as it runs out, suddenly he's still in the game, but he no longer can access the menu, he can't sign out, and the NPCs for some reason can talk and interact. From there, the show goes into him trying to figure out the world, but what makes it different to something like, say, Sword Art Online or most anime is it doesn't rely on plot armor. An example of this, if you've seen something like My Hero Academia, Dragon Ball Z, or Sword Art Online, the main character is considered powerful, but when an adversary turns up, the only way the adversary is quite a little bit more powerful to quite powerful, and the only way the main character can defeat them is usually via a ridiculous power-up or or plot armor where they suddenly get the power of love and friendship suddenly makes them ridiculously powerful. So now, in one thing that might turn people off Overlord is that the main character Momonga, who later changed his name to Ainz Al Ghul, or just Ainz, was level 100 in his own world and was very powerful and understood how the world worked. In this world, he's more powerful than pretty much everything, so nothing poses anything resembling a threat. To put it in perspective, if the light novel does add a lot more, which I'll get back into at some point, the light novel and the manga definitely do a lot more for it than, well, this does, than the anime does. The anime actually cuts a lot of content out, some of it unnecessary anyway, but it's made a point that the people he fights at the beginning are around level 50, well, the soldiers that attack a village that he just decides to intervene with in the first little arc are like level 10, if that. They're very low level. He summons one Death Knight, which is the equivalent of maybe, like, it's level 15, and it decimates them. Then when he fights the Sunlight Scriptures, or at least a little bit of them, they summon holy angels that are able to take out the strongest swordsman in the world, and they can't do any damage to Ainz because he has a passive ability on hit. And then when they summon the strongest holy creature they can, it does one attack and it barely does any damage to him, and he just kills it like it's nothing, which I personally find to be hilarious. The biggest problem people have with the character is they're saying he's evil. You know, he's technically evil because what he's doing is well, the light novel goes a bit deeper into the horrible things him and his Tomb of Nazarick, which is the name of the place that he built that has now appeared in this new world. They're doing horrible things to the denizens or the people they kidnap, but effectively the people they're doing it attack them first, or they happen to be evil anyway, so it doesn't matter. I mean, hell, at the end of Season 3, there's a thing that Ainz is losing his humanity as time goes by. I mean, by Season 3 he's in an actual war, and it's being made clear Ainz is more powerful than most of the kingdoms and the empire that's there. To demonstrate this point, he destroys 70,000 people with one spell, and then reuses their body to summon monsters. That being said, he's not completely run around his tomb and observe it. He only really punishes those who either try to invade Nazarick and steal its stuff, or people who have done harm to the NPCs. Since the NPCs remind him of his friends, he cares a lot for them. There's a lot going on in there, but you see, things that are cut out of the anime are things like certain characters are removed, certain scenes are removed, and certain things that are small minor details are explained in the light novel and the manga. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the character of Albedo. Albedo is the character that he, again, he manipulated her data and changed her into something completely different. I'm trying to think. But they removed... She wasn't in the original light novel, but she was actually added into the later stuff.
Who's that over there?
Hey, if it isn't Nepsy!
Do you folks at home know what time it is? Yep.
So, she's become an integral part, but because of what Ainz has done to her...
It might be surprising, but she's a
she
daydreamer.
she doesn't care. She's obsessed with trying to basically fuck Ainz, regardless of whether he wants that or not. So he doesn't punish her, he feels bad that he even forced her into
I know
these
I'm gonna be
things.
playing solo, but if you see me around, don't hesitate to come say hi. Okay, see ya.
So she does, so she's not really shown within the series much. She hasn't really done much. I mean, again, 3 seasons, she still hasn't really actually done anything. Yeah, that's a major thing. She's not really got many scenes, and the scenes she's got are mainly for comic relief. But again, if you haven't read the manga or the sheet or don't understand her character very well, certain things are just not going to make any kind of sense.
Welcome. Come again, okay?
Which is a problem, especially for, you know... Again, Albedo isn't shown much, but there's much to her character as to why she behaves the way she does and why she's, you know...
Is this all right?
really negative towards
May the goddesses protect
certain things that Ainz does. I mean, I recommend the show if you have Funimation, I recommend watching it completely. Because all through the 3 seasons are up now. Yes, there isn't a foregone conclusion yet, and we don't know if there's going to actually be a season 3 yet. But it is something I recommend people do. Definitely go watch this. Definitely go watch it. You might have issues because Ainz is technically a villain, but it really isn't that bad. So definitely watch it if you can. The Blu-ray is out of the first season,
I'll show you the
and there's a lot
power
I'm
of
not
a
explaining, but
knight.
definitely go see it. And with that, I'll see you all soon. Bye.